Hello, everyone. Welcome to Westmoreland Bulldogs, a podcast. I'm Callahan Marshall here with Sergeant Curtis Morgan from the Oneida County Sheriff's Office. He's going to talk about scams and some of the popular ones that you might be hearing of or seeing. And we're going to focus on high school students and early adulthood. So I know we get a lot of text messages. I know we get a lot of emails from, I don't even know if they're people. They might be bots. Who knows? But what are some of the more prevalent ones that you're seeing?
You're hitting it right on the head. The things that we're seeing are text messages, emails, phone calls. You say, are they bots? Are they real people? It's hard to say. What they have is basically, for the phone calls and the text messages, is like a dialer machine. Something that just continually goes through one number to the next number to the next number until somebody picks up or somebody answers that text message, and then someone in the background now is live on the line, so to speak. If you've ever gotten one of the calls where you answer it because it looks like a familiar number, and we can talk about that in a few minutes.
Yeah.
What it is that number pops up, you answer it, and then there's that weird kind of break in the action, so to speak. That is it going from the computer to someone live in the call center, basically. So it just takes a little bit of time to go from one to the next, and that's where you're hearing like those delays.
So you have to watch out for delays then.
Delays are a really good kind of first tip off, right? And then if you get something that's somebody maybe is hard to understand or they can't answer a basic question to you.
Now, a lot of these scammers are intelligent. They're now including numbers that are familiar, like 315 numbers. In my case, I have a 518 number. But they're using area codes now to make it seem more real, which is really scary. And some of them I remember a woman a couple years ago called a news station that I used to work at, and she said a hospital called her. And it wasn't the hospital, we found out later. She's like, but the number was so similar. So in that case, because it does seem so real, how do you know?
So here's what they're doing. It's called spoofing. So they can use an app or a device, which, again, all this technology was created for great things and great ideas. Let's say you're selling something on the internet and you don't want that person to have your real phone number. You could download an app and it could give you basically a burner number so that that person can't call you back and say, oh, I don't like this lawnmower you sold me, or whatever the case was. Mm-hmm. Great use for that kind of technology. But what they do now is they find, we'll use your 518. So they know you have a 518 area code because they know where they're calling. They make the numbers all say 518 because they give you something that's recognizable and something that makes you comfortable. When it comes to a scam, they want you to become comfortable, and then they want to make you make a snap decision. So if you were to see a 518 number, and then let's say the next three digits were 794, if you see that all of a sudden looks recognizable and something that you might know or somebody might have interactions with. So they do that on purpose. With when you were talking about the hospital scam, what they can do in the same idea is they can make the name come up as something. So I'll pick on myself. We'll say it says doctor's office. Now, am I dumb enough to just put doctor's office in with a phone number? Yeah, I probably am. So I'll see that and I'll be like, oh no, I better answer this. And usually the next line will be something along the terms of, you've missed your appointment. We need you to verify your last name, your social security number, and your mother's maiden name so we can access your records. Does that sound like a good idea?
I know you should never give personal information over the phone.
Correct. So, but should your doctor's office be asking you to verify that stuff?
No.
So what should you do instead?
I would hang up. That's what I would do.
But what if you thought it was a real doctor's office and you really missed your appointment? These appointments are impossible to get. Mm-hmm. So maybe you should take control of the conversation. Well, you're my doctor's office and you're calling me. For one, I need to know which office you're calling from, who you are, a callback number, and I want you to verify that information to me without me asking.
Oh, so do you turn the tables and you ask them questions?
Absolutely. I want you to take control of the conversation. So maybe not so much for the young people, but maybe for the parents that are listening. I always suggest wherever you keep your phone, because kids keep in their pocket, so we're not winning there. But with the parents, a lot of times they're going to set the phone down in the same area, in the same part of the house every day. It goes back to when we had the phone on the wall with the big long cord, and we tracked it through 8 rooms in the house so we could have a private conversation. I'm sure you remember that. Great times.
Yes.
Keep a notepad there, right? So you get one of these weird calls, you take notes. Because if you take notes, you're going to slow down the conversation. If you slow down the conversation, you're not going to make a split decision. So we're back to the doctor's office calling. Mm-hmm. I see that it's a weird number, but it says doctor's office. I probably would have done that. They asked me this information. Instantly, I know I'm not giving them any of it. But I'm leery because I did have an appointment coming up, and I might have missed it. It happens. So now you ask questions. What doctor's office are you calling from? They won't give you that answer. Okay. There's a check in the box for, I don't like where this is going. What's your name? They don't answer it. What's your phone number? They don't answer it. These are all huge signs that that's not your doctor's office. But what if they did? What if they gave you that information? And what if they now said, we're calling from so-and-so's doctor's office. This was the date of your appointment that you missed. All these things. Well, now all of a sudden, maybe it's not a scam call, and maybe it's a new employee asking you the wrong questions. So you could maybe work those things out by slowing the conversation down, asking the important questions, and finding out who they really are. Or maybe some of the best advice ever, hang up and call back.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to, I would hang up and just probably call my office back and be like, did you just call me?
Correct.
Because at least you know you're calling the office.
Right. So we had another, there was a young lady in the area. I went to talk to a group. She was like 16 to 20 years old, somewhere in that range. And she got a call from Verizon. Verizon said her phone bill was past due. And she's like, I don't think it is. So she said, hey, I'd like to ask some more questions. And she said, she did everything I would have asked. She got the person's name she was talking to, a callback number, her employee ID number. She got all the information. I'm like, good for you. And then she promptly hung up on them and called the Verizon store that she deals with. And this isn't specific to Verizon. This is National Grid. This is any company out there that you pay a bill to. So I don't want people to think we're picking on a certain company. Mm-hmm. And she called the store that she deals with, and they said, hey, we'll look up your bill for you, because now she knows who she's talking to. Mm-hmm. And her bill was not past due. So now she's mad. And she calls that number back, and she gets that really common your phone call can't be processed. And it was a scam. But the scammer was smart enough to give her all the information. But she was smart enough to know that it still didn't feel right.
I mean, good for her for that, because that's a really calculated call there that she got. I want to also talk about text messages, because I get at least one weekly about Bitcoin. Bitcoin's a big one for me.
Mine's always that my UPS order couldn't be delivered.
Oh, yes, I get those too. Yep.
But it's the same thing. You didn't ask somebody for Bitcoin information. Delete it. The big thing is, I don't care what it is. If it says click a link because of something, just delete it. Do not click the link. When you click the link, you're opening the portal, so to speak, for them to have access to your information, or you're opening a new web link where you're going to put in information you don't want to share. And it may go to a different thing that says something else. It can get into a real bad situation. But at the end of the day, if you get a text message that says you could mine for Bitcoin or your package couldn't be delivered, a lot of times they're going to have a really weird email attached to them. And I got one from the U.S. Postal Service, and it was a Yahoo email, and I'm like, that's not how that's going to be. It's going to be an official postal service. Believe me, if they know where you are, someone's going to get a hold of you. They're going to get you your package, and you're going to have to pay whatever the difference is. But I wouldn't just delete those messages just for safety's sake.
Yeah, I delete them. I also have USPS where they take the picture of your mail, and they will send me email notifications. But I also look at the email. Oh yeah, you're getting the spam
calls.
Yep, exactly. Right, I get about 3 or 4 of those a day. Right. So, but anyway, I get the pictures of my mail sent to me, or any packages that might be coming that day.
That's actually something I learned about recently. I had no idea that even could happen, and I was talking to a group of senior citizens about, the different packages and things that come through. The guy goes, I know what I'm getting in my mail every day. I go, what? And he pulls up his phone, and what a technological, 90-year-old man he was. And he showed me the pictures of all the mail that he was going to get. And he's like, that way, the neighborhood he lives in, sometimes people try to go in the mailboxes and stuff. And he goes, that way I know what I get and make sure that I get all my mail.
Yeah, it is a great thing because they'll show you packages. It'll take pictures of your pieces of mail that you're getting. So if I do get those messages, I just refer to my, and I log on to, because you can log on to the site. You have to have a username and a password to do so. So if I'm ever feeling like, this might be a legit text that I'm getting, I just log into my own personal account and see if, that's actually the deal.
Yeah, it's crazy, and technology is great, and it's made our lives easier. It can also make it more difficult when it doesn't work. But to have the option to see things like your mail coming through is just such a big deal. We've got to be really careful with what we do. Sometimes people will pretend to be things that they're not, and emails are always a problem too. How many times have you got an email saying you want a prize? I get them all the time.
I do too. I'd be like, I'd love to win $5,000. It'd be lovely.
Right, or we just had a big one come through in our area a couple of months ago. We had a couple that got scammed through Publishers Clearinghouse. Can you believe that? That's still a real thing, by the way. The deputy that looked into the case he did all that, and it is still a real program. Publishers Clearinghouse, it's a real thing. But what it was is they were awarded a very large sum of money.
Was this via email?
Yes, they got an email saying that they won a very large sum of money, and what they had to do was put their information in, and then they mailed them a letter. They got the letter, and then they had to pay the taxes on the money and send the money in, and then they were waiting for their big check to arrive.
And they never got that check.
That is correct. They never got the check. And again, that could target anyone, because I don't care if you're 18 years old or 98 years old. If somebody told you that you just won millions of dollars, that is life-changing. If you're 18, it's life-changing, and if you're 98, it's life-changing. It does not matter. Scams will target any age group, men, women, you name it. It does not matter. Everyone's susceptible. They will try to just tailor it a little different. With the high school kids, there's all the stuff with the influencers. I just heard from a local graduating senior that said that they were going to college to be an influencer. I'm not really sure how that works or what classes they're going to take, but it's a big thing and it's popular, and I get it, because who doesn't want to just sit there with their phone and take a video and make money? Well, I hear that some people are offering classes and different things, but you're paying money and you're not getting anything in return. It may not seem like so much of a scam, but anytime that you're putting out money for a service you don't receive, you're getting scammed. And you and I can talk about what's a good day's wage. We'll make the number really high. We'll say it's $1,000. That's insane. We both probably love to make $1,000 a day.
Yes.
I can tell you right now, your average scammer that is using an iPhone, sitting in his back room, probably makes that in a couple phone calls.
That is so sick to me. Taking advantage of other people for your own benefit. That's so sad.
How many phone calls do you think you would have to make $1,000?
I don't know, because I've never done that before.
Well, I mean, you figure you've gotten all the scams too, and they're talking $50, $100. It doesn't matter. So say it's $100 a call. That's not very many phone calls. 10 phone calls, and you're going to make that money, and you get that done in an hour or two, and you've got the rest of the day for whatever you want.
I just wouldn't even think to do that because it's horrible. Back to the Publishers Clearinghouse. You said that was email. These emails, some of them they're extravagant. They look like they're real. Right. So how do you, I guess, determine whether an email is legitimate or not?
So it's pretty difficult. You've really got to do a lot of, I don't want to say research, but you got to really look at that email and really break it down. And you've got to determine what are the things? And you'll see that sometimes the fonts are different, and sometimes they're written in very strange terminology. And then you've got to look at, too, the email address itself. You could talk any major company. They're going to have we'll say Lowe's. It's going to be, if you got it from Lowe's, it's going to be at Lowe's.com. So if you see something that doesn't say that and it's a Lowe's email, you can be pretty sure that that's not accurate. Or if you go to the very bottom of the email, a lot of times it'll say that this is a spam email. Click here to unsubscribe. You even got to be careful unsubscribing for those, because now they know you're a real active email, right?
Wow.
Or you'll see too on there that, it won't say Lowe's Corporation. It won't say Home Depot. It won't say whatever the real thing is. It'll say that it was built by something. If you really dissect it and dig it apart, you should be able to find it. But at the end of the day, if you didn't ask somebody for this for free, they're not just saying, Callahan, we've got a free Yeti cooler for you.
Mm-hmm.
Who wouldn't love one of those?
I would love one of those.
Keeps ice cool for days.
Mm-hmm.
We never knew we needed ice for a week in a cooler, but now we can have it. We all want it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can get one of those for free, of course you're going to be excited for it. Who doesn't want to get something? Everybody wants to move ahead, and everybody wants to do well. But if it feels too good to be true, it probably is.
And spelling, too. I know some of these scammers, yes, they might be, the emails might look legitimate, but if you actually read through the email, there might be some spelling errors in there.
So you've always got to watch for that, right? Because depending on where these scammers are from, there's a lot from right here in the USA, but they're also from different parts of the country where English is not their first language. So that's where another way, too, the spelling and just the way things are put together and worded, it won't make sense so much to you, because maybe they use a translator to get there, and it'll kind of be broken up. But again, they're good. They know what they're doing, and they know how to get that final goal of the money that they want. So you just have to be careful. And at the end of the day, if you get something that you think might be real, contact the company on a good email that you know, or a phone number. Everyone has a way to be contacted. Don't use any of the information from the email. Get a good source for yourself and contact them that way. Hey, I'm so-and-so. I received this email. You would think there would be some sort of serialized number on it. They should be able to check all that. And if they can't, that's a hard delete for me. You got to be so careful. Yeah,
I told you earlier that we got a scam email from a staff member that everyone here at the school knows. And I knew immediately that it wasn't from the staff member because of the email one. It was wrong unless it was a private email, but he would never email on a private email through the school. Also, there were spelling errors throughout this email, and this man is a very smart person, yes, and his emails are always very entertaining, and he's very smart.
Right.
So I knew immediately that it wasn't, from him, but he was asking for, the scammer was asking for something from the staff. So luckily, we have a really good technology department. Our director there sent us this email and said, this is a scam, do not answer it, and this is just a reminder. These are the things you need to look out for in an email. So it was nice to have that reminder, but, some people don't know. They might have thought that this was a private email from this person.
The whole reason they do that, a school is an easy place to look at, because you have a large staff, right? I can't even imagine how many people are here, probably 150 to 200 people on staff. So if I was a scammer, I would do it probably late August, early September. All your new staff's onboarding. So if you're looking to have a leak in information, and we're picking on schools here, you can pick on any business in the world, but that's just the time frame that would work. So you send that email because, heck, we're all out there as public employees, so we can find names, right? So I could do Callahan Marshall at Gmail and send it out and say, hey guys, I'm starting up this new fund and I'd like everybody to contribute, and hit send. And before you can say, no, that's not me, Bob, that's a brand new guy in the technology, or not technology, because he'd probably pick up on it. Brand new, geez, I don't even want to pick on a teacher. A brand new elementary school teacher has never met you before. Oh, well, you know what? I really want to get ingrained in this school, and I really want to do a great job here. And Callahan, I've heard her name before. You know what? I'm going to donate to her fund that she's setting up to help people. And there it goes. It's gone. And not only do they have now that money that this person sent, but now they have credit card, or we can talk about Venmo and things like that, on how once you hit send, it's gone. There's not all these protections, but maybe they've got that information now that is more than just that $50 she sent, or he sent. It's now all the information that leads back to it. Maybe it's just name, address, and phone number, and now they have their email, and now they can say, you've been hacked, and now they do a different style scam. It could be the same person. So we've got the money through the Callahan scam, and now we've got we're sending something back that says you've been hacked, and now please let us we can remote in and fix your phone, computer, whatever. They charge you to remote in to do it with something. You guys probably use a product similar to TeamViewer or something like that, which was great because when we're all working remote, our IT people could log in and fix our computers. Just like with the changing of the phone numbers for selling stuff online, here's a great product or an idea that IT people can be off-site and fix everybody's computer. I mean, they can fix the middle school while they're sitting here in the high school. They don't even have to walk over.
No.
But now they log in to fix the computer, but what they're really doing is they're going through all your files looking for your passwords, because who doesn't keep a folder that says passwords on their computer? Well, none of us should, but I bet we all do. Passwords, social security numbers, anything like that, while they're fixing it. And they say, all right, yep, we fixed your computer, because they're the ones that did it to start with. And then they say, we're going to close this link. And they never close it. And then they go back in 6 months and check again.
It's so easy. I will say I do not have a passwords folder on my computer. I write them down, and I keep them in a secret place. So I do not do that.
Are they in your sock drawer? Be honest.
I'm not telling you. I'm not telling anyone where my passwords are.
That's it, right? And we're all guilty, and passwords are another thing that can lead into scams. Who hasn't gotten the thing that your password's been leaked because you use the same password for everything? And now there are true and legitimate leaks of passwords. And what if you forgot to change the one for something that you pay just not very often? Maybe you've got an account that you use once or twice a year. Maybe you use it when you travel or airfare or whatever, and you never changed that. And now they have access to it because that password was leaked, and they got your name and they ran it through some crazy database that they have available to them, and they find that this account, and they try that password and it works.
Yeah, that's really scary, because I know a lot of people who use the same password for everything. Again, I'm not one of those people, so but it is a common thing that people do, and I understand why, because it's easy to remember, and you don't want to remember 10 different passwords for 10 different websites that you're on. So I do get that. So with all this being said, the text messages, the phone calls, the emails, what are some questions that people can ask immediately that, can prevent them from being scammed?
Really, the big thing is finding out who they are and where they're calling from. If you know who the person is you're talking to, you can talk on a same level. If they're holding above you that you don't know who they are, you're working from behind at that point, because you're going to continuously try to figure out what it was that they could be referencing to. So you always want to ask questions like your name, your employee number, and a callback number, just in case we get disconnected.
Those three things.
Those are the big
important,
ones. Yeah. And like I say, if you keep your phone in one place, leave a notepad, take notes, figure out what they want. But the real, to wrap it all up, is don't tell them anything. Don't give them your information. Don't give them where you are. If some younger kids are listening to this, it's not so much a scam, but it's like that telling somebody you're home alone, right? If you're there and you don't want somebody to know you're home alone, you don't tell them you're home alone. So if somebody's asking for your social security number or your Medicaid, Medicare, health insurance information, you don't want to give them that. That's yours, right? That's your secret. Don't tell them. And if you do tell somebody, you probably need to report it.
Yeah.
And if you're in Oneida County, The best thing to do if you've been scammed and you've lost money and you need somebody to talk to is to call the sheriff's office non-emergency number. It's like calling 911, but they're not coming in a hurry. They're going to send the next available person. So obviously, if we called 911 right now, we'd have 2 or 3 cars sitting outside the door in minutes.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But if you call the non-emergency number, which is 315-736-0141, you'll get to an operator, and you'll explain to them, I had somebody call me, and I gave them my credit card number, and I've been scammed for a certain amount of money. They're going to say, all right, we've got a car that should be finishing up on a call in the next 15, 20 minutes. You're going to be at your home. We have it as this address. We'll send them out there to see you. So once they finish up with what they're working on, they'll send the next car available over.
And then they'll just collect information about your experience and okay.
They'll collect the information, take a report, and then just kind of move on from there with the process. I wish I could tell you more, but each one's going to be independent and unique. But that person will come out and they'll take your information, and obviously we'll do everything we can to help you. I say we because we're a big team, but that person that you're speaking to is going to do everything they can to help you. Whether your money's recoverable or not, they should be able to help you. Just know what to do next. Obviously, you got to call the credit card company or the bank or whomever, but hopefully they'll be able to give you that peace of mind that with doing these things that you can feel more comfortable.
All right. Well, thank you for all the information. Hopefully this will help people who may have not known what to do or what to look out for. Again, thank you very much for joining us on this district-wide podcast. We like to keep the community informed, so this was very helpful.
No problem. Have a great day.